Hello, and welcome to another episode in the Georgia Workers' Compensation video series. My name is Jason Perkins. I'm an attorney who specializes in handling Georgia workers' compensation cases. I created this series of videos to provide people who've been hurt at work in Georgia with helpful information about Georgia's workers' compensation laws and the benefits they should receive under those laws. Now, let's jump straight into today's topic. Today, I'd like to talk to you about how workers' compensation doctors assign permanent partial disability ratings. But first, let's talk about what does a permanent partial disability rating do in a Georgia workers' compensation claim. Permanent partial disability benefits are often abbreviated as PPD benefits. And PPD benefits are one of three types of benefits that can be paid in a Georgia workers' compensation claim. The other two types of benefits are medical benefits and wage loss benefits. So what do permanent partial disability benefits do? They compensate you if you have a permanent impairment as a result of a workers' compensation injury in Georgia. So serious injuries can often lead to permanent impairment. This means that even when you get as good as you can as recovering from the injury, you're still not as good as you were before. Permanent partial disability benefits, or PPD benefits, is how Georgia workers' compensation law compensates you when you do have a permanent impairment as a result of a work-related injury. The doctor will give you a permanent partial disability rating, and that rating entitles you to a certain number of weeks of benefits. Each body part has a certain number of weeks assigned to it, and you receive this percent rating. The percent is multiplied by the number of weeks appropriate for that body part, and that determines how many weeks of permanent partial disability benefits you receive. The amount of your permanent partial disability benefits is based on a percentage of your average weekly wage. So how do workers' compensation doctors in Georgia determine your permanent partial disability rating? Well, Georgia law requires doctors to use a book that's published by the American Medical Association. That book is called The Guides to the Evaluation of Permanent Impairment. I've got a copy of that book right here. It's a big, thick green book. It attempts to rate any sort of impairment you might have as a result of any sort of injury. The book itself is over 600 pages. So the doctor will use that book, and depending on the type of injury you'll have, we'll look at the correct chapter in that book, and then we'll follow the instructions in order to determine what rating you should have. Sometimes the rating is based on the treatment that you've had, such as surgery or some other type of treatment. At other times it's based on certain things that the doctor measures about your condition when you reach maximum medical improvement. The insurance company pays the benefits to you based on the rating that the doctor provides. There are certain time period within which the insurance company must commence payment of benefits once the doctor's provided the rating. But under Georgia workers' compensation law, you must no longer be receiving temporary total disability benefits or temporary partial disability benefits in order for the insurance company to have to commence payment of permanent partial disability benefits. If you're still receiving those temporary total or temporary partial disability benefits, the permanent partial disability benefits don't start until the temporary total or temporary partial disability benefits stop. Now, this is not a reason to try to stop your temporary total or temporary partial disability benefits. You're still going to receive the permanent partial disability benefits later. It's just that those benefits won't be paid until the temporary total or temporary partial disability benefits, those wage loss benefits, do stop. Now, what if you don't think that the workers' compensation doctor has given you the correct permanent partial disability rating? Is there something that you can do about that? Well, doctors, like everyone else, do occasionally make mistakes. And I've had situations come up in my practice where I believe a doctor has given an incorrect permanent partial disability rating. When this happens, there's a couple of different ways to approach it. One way that I've approached it is to go to the doctor and try to explain why we believe the rating is incorrect. And sometimes that's been successful, and the doctor has then corrected the rating to what it should be. In other situations, the doctor may not correct the rating, and we have sometimes been successful in going and then getting a second opinion from a different doctor to give an opinion about what the correct permanent partial disability rating is, and then going to court and getting a judge to determine that the second opinion doctor gave the correct rating. So there are a few different ways that this can be approached. Getting paid the correct permanent partial disability rating is very important because this is how Georgia workers' compensation law pays you for that permanent impairment you've had as a result of your injury. Your injury not only affects you when you're working, it also affects you when you're at home, affects certain hobbies that you might like to do or other things that you enjoy. So it's important to be paid the correct amount for this. It is important to know that there are time deadlines that can affect whether you can get a permanent partial disability rating corrected. In other words, you have a limited period of time from when you last got paid wage loss benefits in order to get paid permanent partial disability benefits. So if your wage loss benefits stop, the clock starts ticking for when you can get additional permanent partial disability benefits paid to you. I hope you found the information in this video helpful. If you have, please consider two things before you go. First, I really appreciate if you give this video a like or a thumbs up, and consider subscribing to this channel if you'd like to be notified of future videos in the Georgia Workers' Compensation video series. Second, if you've got workers' compensation questions, please reach out to get answers. I offer free consultations in Georgia workers' compensation cases. If you'd like to set one of those up, there's two easy ways you can do so. The first is by calling the phone number at the bottom of the screen, and the other is by reaching out to us to our website, which is www.perkinslawtalk.com. Just click on and submit the free consultation request form there, and a member of our team will reach out to you and get a consultation scheduled. I'd like to thank you again for watching this video today. I'd like to wish you the best of luck as you recover from your injuries.